The Joe Rogan Experience.
So speaking of we're humans, like, tell me about this Lyme disease thing, man, because I'm terrified of Lyme disease.
Yeah, it's a bitch. So I like 2015, I started feeling like shit, and it was like joint pain. I was getting some like neuropathy. I'd sit on the floor with my kids and my legs would fall asleep, or like just positional shit. And it's like I fucked my neck up in 2014. Like 10 days before I fought Yancy Medeiros. So I was like, okay, my neck's banged up. Like what,
bulging disc? Like what?
I don't even really know.
You didn't get an MRI?
No, I didn't get an MRI. It was 10 days before the fight. It was the most unspectacular thing. It was like a whiplash injury. I was sparring Mickey Gall when he was like 22, 21, and he threw like a hook, and I just clinched a body lock, and my head hit his chest, and it just tweaked to my left, and like I felt it. I have it on video, and it's like I like shrug my shoulders, move my head around. It was the last round of the day. I was like, all right, this is gonna hurt later, but we're gonna get through it. Like I only got to that fight because of a chiropractor and his magic fingers and some Graston. But so like a lot of the symptoms that I was getting from the Lyme, I attributed to being a fighter. Like my knees hurt. Well, of course they fucking hurt. Like. I mean, to the point where I'd be 45 minutes into a training session and have to get up like an old man, push on my knees and stuff like that. It's getting, numbness and tingling. I was getting like brain fog, and it was pretty good. I kind of like go into a room sometimes and like go to like clean up and just kind of get lost. So before my fight at 196, like it got so bad that I was contemplating retirement at UFC 200. I was like, I'm going to get through 196. I'm going to ask to fight on 200 to retire. And
you did not know you had Lyme?
Did not know I had Lyme disease. Like I said, I nervous system was kind of shot. Joints were swollen. I'd get some twitching in my eye was mostly where I'd get it. It was just for like days on end. Very occasionally, I would say the wrong word while I was speaking, and not even anything close. Like just the complete wrong word would come out. And you'd notice, and you're like, "What the fuck did I just say?" Like I hope they didn't notice. So I was telling my doctor about this before my pre-fight physical, or during my pre-fight physical for 196, and he's like, honestly, I think you have Lyme disease. And I was like, all right, so we ran some tests, tested me for Lyme. To this day, I still don't test positive. It's about 50% of the people that have Lyme test positive for it. So he's like, if it's Lyme disease, and he's like, we ran some other tests. There's some antibody that I had that showed an infection that they associate sometimes with Lyme. So he's like, we're going to put you on Doxy. And he's like, if you do have Lyme disease, within, a week, 10 days, he's like, you're going to feel different.
What is it called? Doxine?
Doxycycline.
Doxycycline.
So like I fight Diego. And that was the first time, like I was kind of out of it. I could barely train for that fight. Like I would miss training sessions, like live grappling sessions or sparring sessions. And like, because I could barely get out of bed, or like, so I would get in maybe 6 sessions a week, and kind of just focused on like, all right, well, just be in shape, like I could run on the treadmill. That's the easiest thing for me to do at that point, was to run on the treadmill, which is weird. It's different than what most people experience. Most people experience difficulty doing aerobic exercise, and they can do anaerobic stuff. I couldn't do anaerobic stuff. Like if I lifted or did sprints, I'd be banged up for fucking days. So, and that fight, like I remember, like when I fight, and I think it has to do something with the lights too. Like I don't see the cage, like beyond the cage. I don't see anybody in the stands. I barely hear my fucking corner, for crying out loud. So that fight, during the whole fight, I could see like throughout in the stands, I was so like unfocused. that like it was a weird experience. It's the only time it's ever happened to me. But I get out of the fight and get on some doxycycline the following week, and it was like within a week or so, just like my doctor said, I started feeling way fucking better. It took me a few years to figure out when exactly I got bit. I had assumed that it was probably early 2015, and then after learning about the early symptoms of Lyme disease and pulling my head out of my ass and remembering the experience that I had in 2013, I'm pretty much 100% confident that I was bit in like late May, early June of 2013.
What makes you think that?
I had a period of time where I was like, I basically had morning sickness. I was extremely nauseous in the morning. And like early Lyme, it's like flu-like symptoms and migraines and stuff like that. And so I had really bad nausea. Like if I picked up my coffee cup and I was like breathing in and I got a big whiff of my coffee, it would make me gag.
Really?
Yeah. Or like brushing my teeth, I'd just the taste of like the toothpaste would make me gag. I had 2 kids in diapers at the time. Every time bringing the friggin' garbage out, oh man, I'd be dry heaving the whole way down the driveway for like 2 weeks. And I was like, my kids are in daycare. I think my niece had like rotavirus or something at the time. I was like, I got a stomach bug, like whatever. And then I got a series of migraines, like right kind of as the nausea was dying down. I got, I don't know, I think it was like 7 migraines in 10 days or something like that. So I went to neurologist and ENT, ran a bunch of tests. They tested me for Lyme, tested negative. They couldn't find anything, so they're like, "Hey, we're gonna kick the ball down the road a little bit, see if it comes back, and and figure out what we can do." So that I kind of forgot about that. And after kind of educating myself on Lyme after I was diagnosed, I was like, maybe that's when it was. But it took a while to get over it because it was just about 3 years that it had untreated, and the bacteria is a sneaky little bitch. They call it the great imitator because it can give everybody completely different symptoms. And it can pass the blood-brain barrier and all this other shit, It also has a toxin in the cell wall of it. So if you kill too much of it at one time, or in a short period of time, you experience what's called like the Herxheimer reaction, which is basically you're being like poisoned by the death of the Lyme bacteria.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a shitty. It's a fucking amazing thing because it's like here's this little bacteria that when it dies, it makes you change what you're doing, so that you don't like. Getting over Lyme is especially like untreated for a while is a marathon, and I'm not good at that shit. So like I was on doxycycline for 6 months. I ended up
6 months.
Yeah,
And that's an antibiotic.
Yeah, it's an antibiotic. I was
6
I was
months.
shitting fucking like 4 to 5 times before noon. I mean, in 2016. So leading up to like I started to lose a little weight in 2015, but I used to walk just under $190. After that first 6 months on doxycycline, I was walking around at 163 pounds before the Thiago Alves fight.
Whoa.
Yeah, I lost a fuck ton of muscle. And of course, it's like, oh, it's USADA. Jim's off the sauce. It's like, no, I'm pooping so much. Like, you have no idea that I just can't keep up with it. But
you were still fighting.
I was still fighting. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but we're not even done, Joe. So I was on it for 6 months and I felt way better. That was whatever it was, September, than I did, in March. So I was like, hey doc, like, do you think we can, get off of the antibiotics? And he's like, yeah, let's give it a try. And it was about 7 weeks. And then I started to feel like my symptoms were coming back. And then me being an asshole, I'm like, no, they're not. Like, it's not the Lyme again. So like, I kind of waited, and by the end of the year, it fucking kicked my ass. Like leading up into what was that, 208, when I fought Dustin. Like that was the hardest couple weeks before a fight that I've ever had. Like I because I was trying to get back on the doxycycline. I was trying to supplement even way better. And, you know, you're not supposed to take it within 2 hours, like 2 hours before, 2 hours after supplements and stuff like that. And like, I don't like working out with food in my stomach. So, and I can't take the doxy on an empty stomach because it then, you know, makes my stomach upset. So I was like trying to figure out like the best way to get back on it. And it just kept kicking my butt. Finally, like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before the fight, I started to kind of get it dialed in. And then unfortunately I was like fight week, I was having a Herx reaction, and it was a really weird experience. Getting I was having like muscle tremors when I was cutting weight. So like I was sitting there
like punching?
Yeah. I
accidentally?
couldn't stop my arm from moving.
Wow.
Like
that's got to be freaky.
My vision was a little messed up, and I don't know if it was the lights or whatever, but like when I fought Dustin that night, like everything kind of had like a yellow hue to it. It was weird. And I don't know if that was just my eyes being weird or what, but
So this is the side effect of the virus exuding a poison?
yeah,
Wow.
because I finally like kind of figured it out, like right before that fight. So then, like 2017 was like I was still dealing with it, and it was difficult. Like the first half of the year was pretty difficult, and then like through the summer, it started to like get a lot better for me. You know, I changed my diet. I started eating a lot better food. I mean, like when I first found out I had Lyme, we were trying to like kind of adhere to the Lyme diet. You know, the Lyme diet is like basically a paleo. It's an inflammatory disease, so avoiding alcohol, sugar, gluten, dairy, stuff like that. But it's like I also had a bunch of little kids, and it's like, well, if I'm making my food and trying to make their food so they're not eating mac and cheese, hot dogs, and chicken fingers every day, like this is going to be really fucking hard. So, you know, like I've never like adhered to that diet like specifically, but totally eat a ton more like whole foods and vegetables and shit like that now. So, and definitely like I eat drink way less, you know.
So how did you get off of, how did you kill the Lyme? Is it 100% done, or do you still have like relapses?
I haven't had a relapse since about 2017. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So
yeah.
5 fucking years of freedom.
Yeah.
And so you went through it for essentially like a solid 4 years?
A few years, yeah. So it was, well, like it took a while for it to start kicking my butt, you know? Like I had that first instance in 2013 when I first got bit. But then, like, I couldn't really tell anything, you know.
But if you had gotten on antibiotics right then, you probably could have killed it.
Yeah. 3 to 4 weeks is usually what doctors will, prescribe. And if you catch it early, you usually fare pretty well with it. But like, yeah, it was, 2017, I didn't feel like I could start really like pushing myself and sprinting and lifting again until like maybe April of 2018.